My dear students of the secondary school third year, welcome back to our TV Educational English program. Today, my dear friends, we are going to deal with Chapter 5, Part 2. But first, let me welcome my colleague, Caroline Magdi Topia. Welcome, Ms. Caroline.
Hello, Mr. Muhammad. How are you doing? Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to our episode. Today, we are going to continue Chapter 5, again, The Prisoner of Zenda. We had a lot last time, and today we're going to continue the second part. Let's have a little brief of the chapter by Mr. Muhammad, and then we're going to continue our chapter.
To remind you, with the previous part of Chapter 5, there is a letter from Antoinette de Maubin to Rodolphe Rassendyll to meet her in the summer house. At first, Sept objected, but Rodolphe Rassendyll insists on go to the summer house to meet Antoinette de Maubin to rescue the king. At the summer house, there is an offer, Dutchard offered Rodolphe some money and a safe journey to the border. But because Rodolphe was a man of principle, he refused, or he pretended that he accepted the offer, and he finally could escape from the summer house.
Antoinette de Maubin had a big role in this plan because she was the one who wrote the letter to Rodolphe Rassendyll telling him that he is going to meet her in the summer house. Sept, at the very beginning, of course, as Mr. Muhammad said, he refused, but Rodolphe Rassendyll insisted to go there. When he went there was the plan that Michael already had for Rodolphe Rassendyll to kill him and to kill the real king and to take the crown. But Rodolphe Rassendyll was more courageous than anybody can expect, and he went there and he was ready to fight Rodolphe's men and get the trap that he was to be put in to fail down and to have a new life for the king.
Let's start Chapter 5, Part 2. The Prisoner of Zenda.
Chapter 5. Summary of Chapter 5.
The report said that Michael left the capital and went to Zenda.
An hour later, 3 of his men followed him. Dutchard had a bandage around his arm.
Rodolphe Rassendyll was pleased that his shot the night before had been a good one.
The report also said that the people of the capital wanted the king to marry Princess Flavia as soon as possible.
If this didn't happen, if Rodolphe Rassendyll refused to marry Princess Flavia, the princess should marry Michael. So a poll had been held for Flavia. واحنا عارفين a poll دي معناها حفلة راقصة وحفلة موسيقية اللي فيها المفروض اللي يحصل فيها ايه؟ Rodolphe Rassendyll was supposed to ask the princess to marry him.
The ball was a great success. Flavia told Rodolphe Rassendyll that everyone said that he had done a very good job.
Rodolphe Rassendyll told Flavia that when he was younger, دي الغلطة اللي عملها Rodolphe Rassendyll. لما قال when he was younger he didn't realize that a position in society had responsibilities. واحنا عرفنا ده لما كان Rodolphe Rassendyll بيتكلم مع روز في chapter 1. دلوقتي هو لم يدرك ان هو الملك، هو بيتعامل معاه لان هو مش ملك.
He thought he didn't need to worry about society as he believed that was someone else's job.
Flavia was surprised to hear that, as she believed that Rodolphe Rassendyll always knew that he would become king.
وهو ده الكونفليكت اللي كان ما بينه وما بين الريال كينج، انه ده حاسس بمسؤولية while the other one didn't feel any kind of responsibilities.
Rodolphe Rassendyll thought that he had made a mistake. عارف كده انه اخطأ.
Rodolphe Rassendyll wanted to tell Flavia the truth about himself.
ليه هو عايز يقول لها الحقيقة عن نفسه؟ تعال نشوف كده ليه عايز يقول لها الحقيقة عن نفسه. He believed she should know that what had happened to her future husband. يبقى ليه هو عايز يقول لها الحقيقة؟ لأنه عارف ومؤمن إن لازم تعرف إيه أخبار جوزها بتاع المستقبل.
وده جزء من أمانة الشخصية اللي احنا were saying about Rodolphe, and he was a very honest man, a man of principles, a man of honor and dignity, and he doesn't want to deceive anybody.
just as Rodolph Rassendyll was going to tell Flavia the truth. ايه اللي حصل مجرد ما يقول لها لسه يقول لها اهو Sapt appeared at the door and told Rodolph Rassendyll that someone wanted to see him.
وبالطريقة دي فلافيا didn't know about Rudolph's real identity.
بس برضه ما زلنا بنتكلم ان رودولف راسندل هو a man of principle, a man of honor, لان هو مش عايز يكذب عليها ومش عايز يكذب على الشعب برضه. The next morning تاني يوم الصبح ايه اللي حصل؟ رودولف راسندل told Sapt he couldn't stand pretending to be the king. ما عادش قادر يتحمل موضوع ان هو يتظاهر انه يبقى ملك ده. Anymore, as it was not fair for the people of Ruritania and it was not fair for the princess either.
Rudolph Rassendyll went to see Flavia. The princess received 2 letters. The first letter was from Michael inviting her to visit Zenda. وده اللي هيرفض رودولف رازندايل ان هي تعمله. The second letter was from Antoinette de Mauban.
Who warned Flavia not to accept any invitation from Michael. يعني مايكل كان عايز يدعي برنسيس فلافيا to go to Zenda to spend some days there. بس فلافيا حذرتها انها تروح وما ينفعش تخرج الا بحرس. And not to go anywhere without many guards.
Rudolph Rassendyll told Flavia to pretend that she was ill so as not to go to Zenda.
Rudolph Rassendyll asked Marshal Strakens to guard Princess Flavia and protect her from Michael's men.
Rudolph Rassendyll decided to go to Zenda to save the king.
كده رودولف راسندل wanted to have a step. عايز ياخد خطوة to rescue the king. مش هيدنه كده، هو مش هيدنه على طول يبقى ملك، لا ده هو خلاص هو keep the future of Ruritania safe، بس في نفس الوقت he want to rescue the king, he want to save the king. رغم ان هو change the king's images in the mind of the people، غير فكرة وتفكير الناس في الملك، لان هو فعلا بقى قريب من الناس جدا والناس حبته لدرجة ان الناس طلبت ان هو يتجوز برنسيس فلافيا. وفي نفس الوقت هو حافظ على امن روتانيا، يعني بعد عنها ديوك مايكل. وفي نفس الوقت عايز ينقذ the real king الملك الحقيقي، لان هو مش قادر يمثل، مش قادر يكمل ان هو ممكن يكون ان هو يبقى ملك، فعاوز يخلص الموضوع بسرعه. اللي احنا عارفين في الاول خالص ان هو ما كانش بيحب الريسبونسبيلتيز، دلوقتي هو اتحط في بوزيشن، والبوزيشن ده جابت له شايلت له ريسبونسبيلتيز.
He told Marshal Strakens that every evening he would send him a message. If he didn't get a message for 3 days, he would declare himself the head of Stralsund. Then he would ask the Duke to allow him to see the king.
If the Duke didn't allow him ده عايد على مارشال ستراكنز. If the Duke didn't allow him to see the king in 24 hours, هيعمل ايه المارشال بقى؟ The Marshal would say that the king was dead and the Princess Flavia would become the ruler اللي هي the queen of Ruritania.
كل دي they were things that Rudolph Rassendyll was trying to do to save Ruritania, to keep the country and the crown safe, to keep Duke Michael away from the kingdom, and of course never to marry Princess Flavia. كل دي كانت خطوات هو بيعملها عشان يطمن ويتأكد انه even if he is not going to continue، هو ما كانش عايز يكمل already to be the king، انه the country would be safe and the queen would be safe and also Ruritania would be safe.
يبقى احنا كده عندنا في شابتر 5 two plans، عندنا في خطتين في شابتر 5. الخطة الأولى اللي كان وضعها مايكل to kill رودولف راسندل لما بعت له داتشورد وبعت له رجاله ان هم to kill him عشان يقتلوه. الخطة الثانية اللي عملها رودولف راسندل مع ذا مارشال ان هو send him a message، ولو رسالة ما وصلتلوش في خلال 3-4 ايام هيبعت حد عشان يشوف، هو نفسه هيروح لمايكل to ask him to see the king.
Because he expected انه مايكل would kill the king at any time، وكمان there were some news انه the king started to get ill، وعشان كده كان بيحاول يسرع ان هو to keep the king safe and to rescue.
وكمان ادى اوامر للمارشال انه في حاجه لو انا مت برضو الحكم ما يروحش لمايكل،
يروح على طول
الاصل بتاعها لان هي had the right to be the king اللي هي
لان ديوك مايكل ده his second يعني مش من نفس
half brother. ايوه يعني his mother is not royal.
It's Flavia's right to continue to be the queen. Let's have some more questions for today.
Answer the following questions. What did the report of the police chief say?
It said that Duke Michael left the capital to Zenda followed by 3 of his 6 men. طبعا عارفين 3 منهم كانوا they were guarding the king و3 منهم they were with Duke Michael.
Why did Rodolph Rassendyll think it wouldn't be fair for Princess Flavia if he asked her to marry him?
He thought so because he was not the real king.
What mistake did Rodolph Rassendyll make while he was talking with Princess Flavia after the ball?
He made a mistake when he said that when he was young, he didn't need to worry about society, and that he thought that was someone else's job. Flavia was very surprised as she thought he was the real king, and he should have always known that he would become king. وده الكونفليكت اللي احنا حكينا عليه قبل كده وقلنا ده اللي خلاها تحس انه في شيء غريب. He is not like the real king.
Why did Rodolph want to tell Princess Flavia the truth about himself?
هنا لازم نتكلم على الكاركتر of Rudolph طبعا. Flavia was kind and clever and she was going to marry the king. She should know what happened to her future husband and should also know about Rudolph Rassendyll's game.
Why did Rodolph Rassendyll realize that his game اللي هي ايه اللعبة اللي عملها in pretending to be the king had gone too far to go back?
ما يقدرش يرجع دلوقتي في كلامه طبعا. Rassendyll realized so because he couldn't tell anyone who he really was or they would think he was mad. In addition, he wanted to save the king.
Why did Rodolph think that pretending to be the king was unfair?
He thought that he had deceived the people of Ruritania and Princess Flavia.
Why did Rassendyll decide to go to Zenda?
He decided to go there to save the king.
Princess Flavia received a letter from Duke Michael. What did the Duke ask her to do?
He had invited her to visit Zenda.
What did Antoinette Domopa warn Flavia not to do in her letter to her?
خلي بالنا أنطوانيت دو موبان she sent 2 letters واحد لرودولف رازندل والتاني لفلافيا. She warned her not to accept any invitation from Duke Michael and not to go anywhere without many guards.
Who did Rodolph Rassendyll think would be the best guard for Princess Flavia and why? مين الأفضل ممكن يحرسها؟ طبعا هي بتيجي كتير قوي في الفايند ذا ميستيك يقول لي رودولف راسندل believe in Sabt, trusted Sabt to keep the future of Ruritania safe. لا هو فعلا سابت هو اللي محافظ على امن روتانيا بس رودولف راسندل عايز ذا مارشال عايز حد من الجيش هو اللي يمسك البلد لغايه اللي هو بيقولوا عليه الحاكم العسكري لغايه ما برنسيس فلافيا تبقى هي الكوين بتاع روتانيا.
Marshal Strakens would be the best guard for Princess Flavia because Rudolf Rassendyll trusted him.
What did Rudolf Rassendyll ask Marshal Strakens to do to protect Princess Flavia?
He asked him to guard her and not to allow any of the Duke's men to visit her. He also told him about the Duke's ambition.
What would Marshal Strakens do if he didn't get a message for 3 days from Rodolph Rassendyll?
Marshal Strakens would have the authority to be the head of Stralsund.
Now, my dear friends, read the quotations and answer the following questions.
We want to make you an offer. Will you let us in? We can offer you a safe journey to the border and 50,000 English pounds.
Who said this to whom?
One of Michael's 6 men said this to Rudolf Rassendyll. Why did Michael make this offer to Rudolf Rassendyll?
طبعا رودولف راسندل was pretending to be the king. هو عارف مايكل عارف كده and the real king was held prisoner. Michael wanted to get rid of both of them in order to get the crown.
Did the addressed person accept the offer? And what happened after that?
He pretended that he had accepted the offer. هو تظاهر فعلا ان هو هيقبل العرض. He asked one of Michael's 6 men to open the door. He used an iron table to protect himself as Michael's men fired their guns at him and he managed to escape. احنا عندنا دلوقتي في موقفين رودل فراسندل قدر ان هو يعني could escape from Michael's men. الموقف الاول كان في الهانتنج لوج لما هو he saw a gap شاف فتحة والفتحة دي قدر ان هو turn his horse and escape from Michael's men. المرة الثانية اللي قدر يهرب منهم هو في السمر هاوس لما حصل دلوقتي لما طلب من داتشارد ان هو يفتح الباب من بره وهو قدر carry and opened an iron table to protect himself عشان يحمي نفسه from Michael's men battles. يلا نشوف مع بعض ايه اللي حصل بعد كده.
Some people say that if they do not marry soon, it would be better if the princess married the Duke of Stralsund.
قد ايه شعب روتانا كان بيحب رودل فراسندل. Where were these words written? الكلام ده كان موجود فين؟
They were written in the report of the police chief.
What does the word they refer to?
It refers to the king, Rudolf Frazendel, and Princess Flavia.
What were Duke Michael's ambitions? ايه طموحات ديوك مايكلز؟
He wanted to get rid of the king and marry Princess Flavia.
ده علشان يكمل النص التاني بتاعه عشان يبقى ملك. يعني هو مش عايز يتجوزها بس عشان خاطر يتجوزها، لا هو عشان يعني illegally هو شرعا وقانونا ما ينفعش يبقى ملك. هو عشان يبقى ملك لازم يعمل ايه؟ لازم to marry Princess Flavia
first and then to become the king.
To become the
That's
king.
right.
لكن الملك بتاعنا رودولف ألفابرج هيبقى ملك من غير ما يتجوز برنسس فلافيا. ليه؟ لأن هو his father is a king, his mother is queen. You have been the king for few weeks now. Everyone said you have done a very good job. I'm very pleased for you. Who said this to whom?
Princess Flavia said that to Rudolf Frazendel.
What good job had the addressed person done? احنا عارفين في فرق بين addressed person و speaker. addressed person ده المخاطب والسبيكر ده المتحدث.
He managed to change the poor people's opinion about the king.
تغيير صورة الملك في عقل الناس وده اللي كان مطلوب.
He showed the poor people that he trusted them and he also showed them that he cared about them.
What was the real identity of the addressed person? حقيقته ايه اصلا ايه؟
He was not the real king. He was Rudolf Frazendel, a former officer in the British Army.
I don't want you to fall into the power of the Duke. Don't accept an invitation from him. And don't go anywhere without many guards. Who said this to whom?
طبعا we all know it was said by Antoinette de Mauban in her letter to Princess Flavia.
Where was the addressed person supposed to go?
يعني where was Flavia supposed to go? She was supposed to go to the castle of Zenda.
باعتبار ان في invitation من مايكل ليها. What did Rudolf Frazendel advise the addressed person to do?
He advised her to say that she was ill and that she couldn't go to Zenda.
I can't say but think what your life means to the people of Ruritania. شوف قد ايه حياتك بتعني الكثير لشعب روتانيا. Who said this to whom?
Princess Flavia said this to the king, who was Rudolf Frazendel.
Where was this said?
It was said at Princess Flavia's palace.
What did the speaker mean when he or she said, I can't say?
She could not say why the king should be careful. She knew that the king's life was in danger because he had enemies who wanted to get rid of him.
How on earth had I got myself into such a situation? طبعا ده كوتيشن جميل جدا. How on earth حتى بيجي كمان في الفايند ميستيك بيقول لي how on land، لا هي how on earth had I got myself into such a situation. ليه أنا حطيت نفسي في الموقف ده؟ How said this?
Rudolf Frazendel, of course to himself.
تمام. Which situation was the speaker referring to?
Pretending to be the king of Ruritania.
What was wrong with such a situation?
pretending to be a king was hard work for him. He wasn't used to such hard work. مش بس hard work, it's more of responsibilities. He always wanted to have a quiet life. Moreover, as a king, he had many responsibilities. وده كان كتير عكس الكاركتر of رودولف رازندل اللي كان عارفين من أول الستوري إنه he wanted to live his life, he wanted to go out on his own, he wanted to have his trips. فدي كانت حاجة completely different than رودولف رازندل's character.
I don't believe this woman and you are mad to go. Who said this to whom?
Colonel Saab said this to Rudolf Rasendel.
Who was this woman?
The woman was Antoinette de Mauban.
Why did the address person want to go to see this woman?
He needed such help because Michael and his men wanted to kill him and the king to take the crown.
Now, my dear friends, find the mistake in each of the following situation and correct it. احنا عارفين طبعا ان احنا في الغلطة بتاع القصة بالذات ان انت مش شرط تلاقي كلمة واحدة تشيلها وتحط كلمة تانية. ده انت ممكن تلاقي معلومة كاملة او ممكن تلاقي مينينج كامل، ايديا كاملة بتشيلها وتحط مكانها فكرة تانية خالص. فما تنزعجش لما تلاقي في الفايند ذا ميستيك بتاع القصة الغلطة طويلة معاك. يعني دي مش مشكلة، هي ده الصح انك بتشيل المعلومة وتحط مكانها معلومة تانية. ويلا نشوف مع بعض. The ball that was held for the princess was prepared by Robert Rasendel.
Of course, the ball that was held for the princess was prepared by Fritz.
Rodolph Rasendel often remembered Rose's words that a position in society brought with it problems. هل فعلا روز كانت بتقول كده ان المكانة في المجتمع بتجيب معاها مشاكل؟
Of course not. Rudolf Rasendel often remembered Rose's words that a position in society brought with it responsibilities.
One reason why nobody noticed that Rodolph Rasendel was not the real king. في سبب واحد خلت الناس تلاحظ ان رودولف مش هو الملك الحقيقي. Was that he was very good at pretending that he had remembering rules and people he had met. يبقى احنا عندنا فيه سببين، ان هو كويس جدا في التظاهر، غير كده كمان ان هو احيانا بينسى الرولز، لان الملك بتاعنا كمان بينسى الرولز.
One reason why nobody noticed that Rudolf Rasendel was not the real king ما كانش طبعا الانسر ده. It was that he was good at pretending that he had forgotten rules and people that he had met.
يعني في الجملة كان موجود، في السؤال كان موجود ان هو remember بيتذكر، لا بالعكس. ده اللي ساعده كمان ان هو اصلا مش الملك وبالتالي ما يعرفش، فكان بيعلل الكلام ده ان هو forgot something، بينسى القواعد وبينسى القوانين. وده حصلت معاه كتير جدا لما كان بيتكلم مع برنسيس فلافيا في القصر بتاعها، وبيتكلم مع كمان سابتو فريتز. نشوف مع بعض هوم وورك وننتظر منكم برضو على الموقع بتاعنا ان انتم تحلوا لنا الهوم وورك ده وتجيبوه لنا على الموقع بتاعنا، زي ما في اسئله كتير بتجيلنا، واحنا طبعا بنجمع الاسئله دي وهنعمل لكم حلقه فيها، لكن احنا بنرد عليكم في الموقع بتاعنا. فتابعونا بالهوم وورك ده وهنشوفوا برضو الحل بتاعكم على الموقع. Answer the following questions.
Why did Rasendel become good at pretending he had forgotten rules or people he had met?
What did the Dutchman offer Rodolph Rasendel at the summer house? Why didn't Rodolph accept it? ده السؤال الثاني. السؤال الثالث.
Question: Why had they prepared a ball for the princess?
ليه هم جهزوا الحفلة الموسيقية علشان برنسس، وليه سابت جهز كده؟ عشان ايه اللي يحصل في الحفلة دي؟ After the ball, the princess received 2 letters. What were they and who were they from?
Why did Rudolf Rasendel want to tell Princess Flavia the truth about himself? لازم نتكلم عن الكاركتر of Rudolf in this question.
Read the quotations and answer the question.
Flavia, there is something you should know. I'm not really.
كان هيبدأ يغلط اهو ويقول ان انا مش كذا لولا سبت. Who said this to whom?
What do you think the speaker was trying to say?
Why couldn't the speaker complete his sentence?
Third quotation: every evening I'll send you a message. If you don't get a message for 3 days, you have the authority to say that you are now the head of Stralsund.
Who said this to whom?
And when was this said?
What other orders did the speaker give? Find and correct mistake in each of the following sentences.
In her letter to Resendel, Antoinette de Mauban asked him to leave Ruritania.
هل الكلام ده مظبوط ولا لا؟ وممكن نشيل ايه ونحط ايه؟ Flavia received an email from Rose warning her not to accept Michael's invitation to go to Zenda. هل في كان اياميها نت فعلا وكان في ايميلز وكده؟
وهل كان فعلا from Rose? We have to read all the statement لانه مش لازم تكون في one mistake. It could be more than one mistake.
يبقى فعني كده ان في جمله في تعبير كامل هيتشال. يعني مش الايميل بس اللي هتتشال وتحط مكانها مسج، لا ده كمان هنشيل روز ونحط مكانها ايوه. فزي ما احنا قلنا كده مش شرط كلمه واحده بتشيلها، ده انت بتشيل جمله، بتشيل معلومه كامله، تشيل فاعل وفعل ومفعول ممكن يعني. نرجع تاني بيقول لي almost everyone realized that Rodel Frasendel was not the real king. هي طبعا برضو قرب لكم هنا كلمه almost everyone. هو مش everyone ادرك كده، شوف احنا هنشيلها ونحط مكانها ايه.
3 of Michael's men were at the castle of Zenda guarding the treasure.
ده حصل فعلا.
Was it a treasure?
When Rodel Frasendel was younger, he realized that his position in society had responsibilities. ما كانش اللي حصل بينه وبين روز. لما حصل في الأول خالص الديالوج اللي حصل بينه وبين روز إن أنت بتشيلش مسؤولية وإن أنت فاكر إن أنت أغنى من أخوك، أخوك عنده مكانة وأنت المكانة بتاعتك دي أنت أصلا جايبها من أخوك، فبقول لها لا أنا شايف إن الopportunities إن الفرص دي come from position. يعني he take any opportunities to reach his goal. وده اللي بيحصل. لكن دلوقتي احنا واضح ان هو الشخصيه بتاعته اتغيرت، الكلام اللي كان بيقوله في الاول اتغير، بقى شال مسؤوليه، شال شعب كامل، وغير كده كمان لازم يحرر الملك ولازم يغير تفكير الناس اللي لما كانوا بيفكروا الملك تفكير غلط. يبقى كل ده اتغير معانا. لازم نشوف الشخصيه دي ازاي اتقلبت، ازاي اتحولت من شخص ما عندوش مبادئ الى شخص برنسبلز، شخص اللي كان كل حياته هي الادفنتشرز، كان بنسميه ادفنتشرز مان، راجل محب للمغامرات.
كمان وممكن نيجي كأسئلة فيها compare between
في بدايته
his life at the beginning and his thoughts and his way of thinking and now after being the king what kind of changes happened to his character.
تمام، وهي دي كمان ممكن تبقى هي الدرس او المغزى.
The moral lesson of the story. Dear student, by the end of this homework that we gave at this episode today, we have come to the end of our episode. Please students, I hope that you can get the homework done. Try to send all the answers that you have on our Facebook site and be ready for getting more and more for the next class. Thank you and waiting for you.
Thank you, my dear friends. Wait for us the next time. Don't forget to answer the homework and send it to our Facebook. Thank you and goodbye.
Goodbye.